And we are live. Good evening, everyone. Let's make sure that I've muted everything on my side. That's kind of important, right? Well, it's good to be back and being able to breathe and sit upright without. I do apologize last time. That was not fun on a variety of levels. But we are back. I am feeling much better. Thank you all for the well wishes. And we have passed Christmas and we have approached tomorrow is the end of 2025. And boy, we have gotten a lot done over the past couple of months, right? We've really grown. In fact, tonight I wanted to announce that for the first time ever, 10,000 subscribers to the YouTube channel, which for me is a huge accomplishment. Other people's maybe not that big of a deal, but for me, I'm really, really blessed. And thank you for being a subscriber on the YouTube channel. I really appreciate it. We're seeing a huge rise in the number of people following on X, and we're starting to push against a lot of the, I guess you could call hype and insanity that's out there in the weather world. And I really, really want to thank you for being part of that help. And the best thing to do, I do want to say this, as we go into 2026, I've been working with a lot of AI, although I'm not a big fan of AI, in terms of being lazy and replacing doing your work. I think it's a great tool to ask questions about how some processes work. And so I've been going to each of the AIs and asking them, hey, what's the best way to reduce poor content that is not true? For example, an Arctic hurricane, right? Or a category 6 hurricane hitting New York City. And really, the best way is really up to you. It really, really is. When you see information like that is completely bogus, like a GFS snow map for 15 days out, the best thing you could do to reduce it is not to send it to me or to share it or say this is ridiculous. I've been doing that too. I'm guilty of that too. That actually spreads it more. The best thing you could do is notify it and say, this is spam. This is nonsense. Please do not share this with me on my feed. And the system, this is true on Facebook and all the social media, actually recognizes that. And the more that people do that, the less it gets promoted. So I'm actually, as part of the chairman, well, I'm going to be chairman of the board of the CDM, Certified Digital Meteorology for the AMS, starting next month. Okay. And one of the goals I am going to have is basically helping to get those who are certified and who provide great content um, more exposure, not just myself, okay, but there's people like EPA Weather, EPA Weather, who does a great job, and I'm trying to get him to do the process to earn the CDM because he more than deserves it, and other individuals out there that provide great information to get that out there. So that's one of the goals for 2026. Other thing is that the website's going to be getting a bit of an upgrade, so I'm really looking forward to that. We are working on it along with improving some of the ability to subscribe, looking at different ways to subscribe, a little bit more on using the X function for subscribers on here. You've already seen some of it where premium subscribers, whether it's in the dashboard or on X or in the Discord, get a little bit more details, a little bit more information via quick blurbs than the rest of the general public. So we're going to be building on that. So a lot of exciting things and also expansion, but more of that later. I want to also share, because my wife is awesome, some gifts I got for Christmas. Old Saint Nick really delivered this year. I got statistical methods in atmospheric science. This is going to be fun. This is going to be a lot of fun to use because this allows you to have better understanding of what these AI models are doing. You see, the AI models are based on statistical analysis. So that's the best way to study that. Looking forward to reading this. Yes, I do read all of this because I'm a nerd. That's what I do. Atmospheric thermodynamics. Let's see here. By It's a second edition by Craig F. Boren and Bruce A. Al Abrich. I don't know. I probably butchered his name, but here you go. Okay, this is a great book to read in terms that I really was looking forward to reading because I always need to improve my understanding of atmospheric thermodynamics. Even though I'm more than 20 years out of college, it's always good to keep on reviewing and keep reading. So I'm looking forward to reading all of this. And it's from Oxford too, so this should be fun. Right? And let's see here. What else did Santa drop in? Or my wife. Let's see. I got these books here. They're heavy too. So it's a bit of a workout on its own, just lifting all these books. And then we'll be going over them more as we get into the quiet season. Let's see, Introduction to Atmospheric Physics. This is a great book if you are starting out or you want a quick review. Um, Mid-Latitude Atmospheric Dynamics by Jonathan E. Martin. I've been dying to read this book. Looking forward to reading this over again. Again, to understand better atmospheric dynamics. And if you're going to ever talk about climate change, then you better understand atmospheric chemistry. Okay, this is by Grant Ritchie, From Surface to the Stratosphere. Yes, it is more than just what you put in your car. There's a lot more to atmospheric chemistry than that. This is a great book. It's an essential textbook. It's going to be a lot of fun. See, some people get excited about comic books, movies, atmospheric physics. This is going to be great. So, as always, send a big thank you out to my wife, Susan. Thank you very much for the books. I appreciate it. So, did someone say? Yeah. Yeah, Facebook has been having some issues for some reason. I'm not sure why. Facebook is an issue, but that's besides the point. Um, but it is certainly interesting to see. Oh yes, there is someone that they are mentioning here in the feed already that I'm seeing. Yeah. Oh God. Okay. Yeah. Joe Martucci, outstanding. In fact, I have. If you go to the American Meteorological Society, if you Google it, okay, if you Google certified digital meteorologist. In fact, here you go. Let me just do it right here. Certified digital marketing, no, meteorologist. Okay. So if you happen to Google it and then you go on the top list, they have an actual list of meteorologists. So let me just go straight to that and just put myself up here. Okay. And you could see certified digital meteorologists. There's me right here. Yay! Right there. Um, there are right now, and this list is growing fast. This list up to, I think, 25, 26. We're actually just have a few more new people coming in. So we're going to be up to 29. So this list is going to be updated soon. But these are the people who have earned the certified digital meteorologist signia and who are outstanding. Um, some of you might have heard already, like Matt Lanza, okay, outstanding. Jason Simnow, let's see here. There's Joe Martucci right there. Uh, there's just a lot of great people. The English, Spanish. So these are the guys, Sean Supple. These are the people who, right now, in the digital realm. You can also check out Certified Broadcast Meteorologist, which is right here. Much broader list because it's been around for a lot longer. But any of these people that you come across as well are people that you could definitely trust. And it's a huge list that has nothing to do with nonsense from Facebook or YouTube trying to scare the hell out of you. These people will provide great information for you throughout the country. Um, but we also have people here who are just really big now on TikTok and Facebook and just all sorts of different locations out there. So I would definitely say check out this list. It's going to continue to keep growing, and it's a great thing to do. All right. So with that said, let me make sure one thing here. My It looks like I just want to make sure that this thing is updating properly. It doesn't look like it's. If anyone wants to type into the premium chat section, I just want to make sure that's updating properly. Um, if not, I can go here as well and pull it up because I always want to make sure that I read all of their information as well. But yeah, we're going to have a lot to talk about with this weather pattern that is evolving here. It's certainly an interesting one to say the least. Yeah, see, that's what I thought. For some reason, it's not updating on this page. That's okay. I'm just going to go and update it here, try to see. If not, then I will just read it from the side here. But I want to be able to show you guys. Yeah, I'm not sure why it's not showing up here. That's okay. That's not a problem because I have it on the side here. I'll just read it and then we'll go from there. But let's talk about the weather pattern overall. And yeah, I'm actually in the process of going over and learning Python as well. I'm taking Python courses because it's important to learn, keep on learning. So let's talk about this weather pattern overall because there's been a lot of excitement and a little anxiety and then overexcitement and then anxiety again. And it has something to do with the windshield wiper effect that we call, um, that basically shows blizzards, then nothing. Blizzards, then nothing. Then warm pattern, then utter cold. Why is it doing that? We're going to talk about that tonight, and I'm going to explain to you what is actually going on with the model guidance. Also, if you have any questions about the previous storm, where I literally passed out nearly, and you have questions about why things didn't work out, I will more than happy to answer that. Go over that. I'm not dodging it in any way, shape, or form. It was not the best forecast for, well, almost most of New Jersey, Eastern Pennsylvania. Connecticut did well. Long Island, you guys in Long Island are happy. But everywhere else, pretty much a good kick in the teeth. So I'd be more than happy to answer any of those questions. But for now, let's take a look at what's going on here. The SOI, the monthly value is now negative. The seasonal value is trending towards 5 very slowly. Daily contributions are wavering between negative and positive. Our MJO is DIA. It's just, or MIA. You could say that too, because it is basically missing from the equation. It's pretty much in neutral circle. Various models tried to move it into different locations, but it's the same general theme of the MJO is dead. Tropical forcing is pretty much dead. So that's pretty interesting. Look at this. Our La Nina is losing punch. Not much left to it. And the most important thing, I talked about this with premium members. You see this right here? This means that our La Nina has lost all its support. This is the last cold pool of water left, and it's going bye bye real fast. So the idea of La Nina dying is working out very nicely. And as a result, the reason why I'm bringing this up again, and we're going over all this again, is that it explains what the hell is going on with the model guidance? Okay, because it's all over the place. Right now, it's pretty quiet out here, around 180 degrees. Watch out for this over the next 8 to 10 weeks. The more convection you start seeing firing around here, the more things are going to start to get awfully interesting. We had some earlier, it's kind of dying down. It's not a persistent type of situation here where it's like every day. You kind of look at the average 5 to 7 day average, and over the past 5 days you've seen a lot of convection here, a little bit here, but most of it here. you're seeing some influence in the subtropical jet stream. Meanwhile, everything's being driven by the stratosphere. And our EP flux, which I love to watch, is transporting that air from the mid latitudes into the stratospheric higher latitudes. We've been talking about this since October. It has been a constant theme. We're going to see a reload. It's finally the atmosphere, the stratosphere is starting to cool down a little bit after its heat wave since November, but it's going to get ready to reload under the influence of our QBO, which is starting to move into a west descent phase. This actually is 100% normal. Don't get spooked by this. This is supposed to happen. Okay, if it didn't happen, it'd be very very weird. But as far as our weather pattern through February March, still easterly influence. So this tells me that hey, probably by mid spring, more of a westerly QBO. Totally different environment. It's also important for the tropics, which we'll talk about in a couple of months. But this is what I wanted to point out. Look at our forecast now for the polar vortex. Let's go back 10 days, shall we? All right, so let's see here. 10 days ago. 10 days ago, I was told by many people, mostly some meteorologists who have a very strong opinion. You idiot, it's going to be torching all the way through January and February, and there won't be any more snowstorms. I'm like, oh, well, it's possible I could be an idiot. I mean, look, I'm not a super genius. I do make mistakes. If you need any proof, just go to Friday evening. Um, okay. Well, that was this. Hmm. Yeah, this does look like a strong polar vortex, right? 10 days ago, right? I was a little suspicious. I was saying, well, there seems to be some sort of indication maybe it might not plan out. And, the atmosphere really hasn't been acting like it's going to be a strong polar vortex. Let's say neutral. No, no, you're wrong. Okay. This afternoon. Well, what do you know? Why? Why did the model shift? That's what's important, not who's right and who's wrong. Why did the model shift? The model shifted because it finally recognized the fact that the atmospheric influences that have been driving this pattern from the very start are not changing. They're not moving towards a support for a strong polar vortex in a cold atmospheric environment. If anything, neutral, somewhat near normal, but more likely towards weak. And look at the shift in the number of models that are suggesting, hey, we could see another major disruption here. Not ready to forecast it yet, but certainly a higher potential. Why is this really, really important? It's important because, again, the models can only work with what data is being fed. So, this is important to recognize that the models are not being fed some data here. That's really important. There's a missing clue here. And the reason why I could say that is that to have such a swing in 10 days tells me that something is not being fed into this model guidance. And this is European model guidance for 10 millibars, one of the best models in the world. Okay, we're not talking about the GFS that has a bipolar personality and goes from blizzards to heat waves every other run. So it tells me, Stephen, be careful about this weather pattern the next 2 months because something is missing in the observations being fed into this guidance. To have such a huge swing over 10 days for a climate like large synoptic environment forecast to go from this 10 days ago to this now, there's something being missed here, which means we need to stay on our feet here. We really need to. So what this would tell me is that okay, we got a weak polar vortex here, wavering around towards near normal and back towards weak, which means hey, this is kind of a signal for a lot of stretched polar vortex, which means waves of Arctic air. Okay, so in this type of scenario, I would stay away from sustained 8 weeks of cold. You might get that in the average, but what this tells me is waves of cold air. Arctic blast, retreat. Arctic blast, retreat. Series of winter storms, relaxation. Series of winter storms, relaxation. The difference is now that we're seeing this shift here, okay? Notice starting since 24 hours. Look at the shift. We're moving away from support from a huge ridge over the Aleutians to now we're supporting a huge ridge over Alaska and the west and western North America, which means we finally get amplitude over the Rockies, which means we have a better chance, not a guarantee, but a better chance for major winter storms. And I'm not talking about the clipper that tries to redevelop and try to figure out the moderate snowfall. I mean from DC to Boston, major winter storm impact potential. Not guaranteeing, not promising. We're not going to look at 15 days out and say, oh, well, this is it. I'm just saying the pattern is finally where we need it to be to even have a conversation. Okay. That does not mean you want to look at snow maps beyond 5 days, or even beyond 3 days. But at 5 days, you can at least get maybe a ballpark idea of where it might end up. But beyond 5 days, it's just fiction. It's just nonsense, fantasy land. And it's not worth it to even bother. But what this tells me through February is that you got this overall theme where your ridge axis is either over Alaska or over the Rockies. In either way, that transports plenty of cold air into the eastern two-thirds of the United States, and it also allows for the subtropical jet stream. So our model guidance in the 46 days here, plenty of cold air, but what's the most important theme here? It's not the cold air. Cold air is, nice. You need the cold air for winter storms. That's not what stands out to me. What stands out to me is this. Now that is a thermal gradient. And if you have a thermal gradient, you got a storm track. If you have a storm track, well, then you get plenty of precipitation. Look at that. Plenty of precipitation. Now, you don't want to be on this side of the precipitation scale because that means you're on the warm side. Because cold air does not hold this much moisture. Okay. And kind of get an idea that you're up here, right? So if you got that much moisture falling over you, then you're most likely on the warm side of the storm track. So as you can see, we have plenty of precipitation here, which is running generally near to above normal. So you have near to above normal precipitation suggestions and plenty of cold air to work with. Now, this doesn't guarantee feet of snow in your backyard, but I certainly would like to have this type of data to look at than well above normal and well above normal water or precipitation. In terms of our weather pattern overall, I'm going to just pull up the operational first because there was a lot of excitement about storms and no storms and what's going on here. I'm going to take a look at 500 millibar PVA in a moment to make a point here. But the operational guidance still produces a hell of a Western negative NAO pattern. The key change here is we get rid of our huge upper level low over Alaska finally, and we kick it towards the Aleutians, and we replace it with a ridge. And that fundamentally changes this whole discussion. Because now you can start talking about amplification. You could start to talk about the potential for these troughs become more negatively tilted, slow down, more potential for blocking. But you also can see a whole lot of screwy stuff here happening with the short waves here. Okay, look at this. There's like 3 upper level lows in the same location. You have a positively tilted trough with a negative in a neutral trough. You have a negatively tilted trough here within a ridge. What in the heck is going on? Well, let's smooth this out a bit. And this is where you really want to use the um, ensemble guidance when you're starting to look at the 500 millibar pattern to get rid of all those screwy looks. And you can see the overall theme here. Goodbye, upper level low in Alaska. Hello, ridge. And hello, amplification. That is what we want to see. So yeah, there are a whole lot of interesting signs here. Now, right now we have the Arctic air driving right in, a lot of plenty of cold air coming in, and with that, some snow flurries and snow showers. A lot of activity back towards the Great Lakes where we have our lake effect snow. But in the Poconos and Catskills, you're getting a few flurries and nice snow showers here and there. And not looking for anything heavy, but just enough to produce some light snow. Good for the ski groups up there, ski lodges. And we are certainly plenty cold enough. Thankfully, a lot of that ice melted, right? So let's talk about our weather pattern. I just kind of want to point this out here. So, first of all, for New Year's Eve into New Year's Day, tomorrow, first of all, if you're heading out to New York City and you want to stand in the crowd, first of all, I would say get a psychological check. That's just crazy. I have no interest in doing that ever. Ever. I will be very happy to sit in my home, have a lot of little hot dogs, and just enjoy myself inside. I don't need to stand outside and watch a ball. No, thank you. But will be cool that there will be snow flurries around. It will definitely be cold enough. Temperatures in the mid to upper 20s. But look at that. Hello. Now, I was concerned about a negatively tilted trough here, not negatively tilted, a inverted trough setting up for the region in this scenario here. I am no longer concerned about that because more and more data is pointing towards this trough passing to the north of us, which kind of kills that potential pretty well. There is some stretching here, but not enough for us, possibly Boston, the way this is looking, more like possible nonsense around the Gulf of Maine in this setup here. Originally, earlier, past couple of days, this feature was far stronger and diving into New Jersey right around this time period. And so, what that would do would stretch the atmosphere, and you'd get a ridge axis here, and you can get a nice inverted trough at the surface. We're developing a low pressure system that doesn't look like that's so much of a threat right now as it was a couple of days ago, well, 24 hours ago, really. But because I'm seeing this is a little bit less defined, I'm kind of backing away from that. But we are looking at one heck of an Arctic front coming through right around when everyone's starting to go home from New Year's Eve, of course. So definitely watch out for that for some snow squalls early in the morning as we start 2026. Now, as far as our storm pattern, here we start not many shortwaves here in the subtropical gesture. Remember I said about the weakening polar vortex, more moisture in the subtropical gesturing, more activity. Watch out for convection around the date line. And remember what I said about the change of dynamics in the stratosphere and the polar jet stream. So through the next 90 hours, pretty easy, right? Not much changes here. We got a nice little ridge here, nice little disturbance here. No, not as much alignment in the polar jet stream just yet. But as we get to 120 hours, what we start to see are a lot more disturbances coming in the subtropical jet stream. Meanwhile, the polar jet stream is trying to adjust all the changes going on, and it has a ton of disturbances running all over the place. So this is why you're seeing a lot of screwy solutions because there's so much change going on and there are so many short waves running around that in some solutions it phases everything early and you get this huge phase here, a nice warm up, and Arctic air is trying to catch up to it. And you got this short wave undercutting this ridge while this short wave is trying to undercut this ridge. It's complete and total chaos. This is, if you were to compare it to noise, this would be like trying to listen to classical music and the guy next door to you just started to learn how to play guitar and it's an electric guitar with a really bad amp and it's making all sorts of noise and it sounds like a cat is dying. That's essentially what you're seeing here. It's just noise, a lot of noise and bad physics. You got an intensifying shortwave here. Why? I don't know. Not much support in the jet dynamics for this. But you have this, and then you have this weird thing that looks like a snake. Then you got this shortwave that tries to go negative and positive at the same time, which doesn't make much sense. Oh yeah, and don't forget this short wave, which is trying to interact with some lake effect snow here, just exploding out a lot of short waves out here. Oh yeah, and then we got a ridge here, but that's getting undercut by this trough here, which leads to this negatively tilted trough with this very powerful upper level low, which at the same time is enhancing this ridge, which doesn't enhance this trough. If this is getting enhanced, this has to get enhanced, but it won't get enhanced. Why? Because this is trying to shear it. A lot of noise. A lot of noise. Someone's playing some bad guitar music, they're a first time user, and it's just a mess. And then we go even further out, and now we have a large block here, probably a powerful negative NAO up here. This shortwave comes out of nowhere, tries to knock down the ridge. Why? Who the hell knows? And you got this shortwave that's a positive tilt. But wait, hold it. This is coming in. Let's go negative tilt. Let's try to do a negative tilt. No? Well, this will go negative tilt and this will go positive tilt. Doesn't work. So a whole lot of errors. What does this mean in terms of potential? It means there's a ton of potential out here, but you're not going to see it until you get under 120 hours because there's so much noise going on. There's so much changing. Now, this doesn't mean that you're going to get a winter storm. This means that if you are overreacting to beyond 5 days out in the mall guidance, you're wasting your time. Whether it is a huge blizzard or it is a heat wave, it is garbage because there's so much changing out here. So don't bother posting a major snowfall 10 days out because it'll disappear the next run. Don't bother posting a ridge on the GFS 7 days out because it'll disappear in the next run or in the next 15 minutes with the 18Z guidance. Don't worry about it. What do we know? The pattern is shifting to a far more amplified, more favorable pattern, and as thus, in this shift, chaos rules. And with chaos ruling, you need to be prepared. And by being prepared, we need to look out for potential here. Some of it won't materialize, but you keep on the lookout for it. Don't overreact. Just be prepared. But what does that mean? Hey, you got your shovel, you got your snow melt, you're ready. And if you have to have backup plans, if you're a snow removal person or something of that nature, running a plow, the best thing to do is be prepared to make sure your equipment is working properly. Because I'm telling you right now, with this type of pattern, you're not going to get a lot of lead notice in this situation until this starts to basically set itself up and play and get through this changing period. Once we get through this changing period and we lock in that ridge to the west and the upper level low in the Aleutian Islands, once you get that set up, everything gets a lot smoother. You still have a lot of volatility because you still have to work out with the interaction of short waves in the subtropical and polar jet stream and timing and all that good stuff. But at the very least, you won't get this mess. That's just all over the damn place. You get something a little bit more clearer, you get a better idea, but we won't get there until we locked in the pattern and we get done changing. So a lot of volatility. In the meantime, plenty of cold air heading into the new year. Watch out for this clipper right here. Very nice. Let's see if we got any new 18Z data. That'd be cool to look at. And I think we do. So let's see what we got here. Plenty of cold air, plenty of snow flurries around. Here we are around midnight, and there's a few flurries around as the ball is dropping. Nothing heavy. Here comes our Arctic cold front. And right around, let's see there, probably around 3 a.m. to 5 a.m., nice Arctic cold front moves through. A snow squall or two. And the NAM is having a hard time picking that up. Let me see if the 0Z data is in yet. Nope, not yet. But the NAM's having a little bit hard time picking up the Arctic cold front. They have some snow squalls, but it's having some difficulty. The HRR guidance is doing a little bit better. Again, let me just see if we got any new data. Perhaps. there's our front. It picks up the little bit of snow showers and light snow right around midnight here. This, by the way, is overdone. Okay, so what's happening here is that the model guidance is picking up on the influence on Long Island Sound. This is way too strong. I sense a convective feedback error there. That is nonsense. Okay. When you see like a burst like this, that's convective feedback error right there. Because the reason why you know it is that there's no support in the upper levels for that type of reaction. None. That's an error. But this isn't. Let's see. Let's see. Go back to 18 hours. Yep. There's that. So if you take the NAM and you take the HIR and you split it in half, basically you got an Arctic cold front coming through between 2 a.m. and 6 a.m. that in some locations will see a brief snow squall. Not dusting to an inch, not a major storm. Um, there is that signal here, and you could also see that on the European guidance too. There, see that load developing there? See that inverted trough that develops as a result? So that's going to be an issue in the Gulf of Maine. You guys off in Boston about something. That is about it. Now it is time to answer some questions. And of course, first we're going to go to our chat room. I'm going to try this once again just to see if I can get it up and running. It could just be something with Safari having an issue. Yeah, we'll give it one more shot. I can see it on this side, so that's good. Oh, hold it. It just got fixed. Oh, perfect. See, a little bit of magic goes a long way. So let's see here. We'll start here with Card. Yep, Happy New Year. Glad to see you're doing better. So am I. Let's, it'll probably be a good idea is actually me showing the chart. There we go. Can you see the feed, I guess the feed of warm air from tropical troposphere right up into the stratospheric polar vortex really stretched towards North America at 70 millibars. Also looks like a good cross-polar flow from Siberia is starting to set up while the subtropical jet definitely looks more energetic. Yeah, I mean, I've seen all of that. It definitely is setting up pretty good. Oh, I want to also mention, honey, can you grab me the coffee that we're using? I want to mention this coffee, which is absolutely outstanding. Mm. This has a little bit of a chocolate kick to it too at the very end. Okay. Hey, look, if someone's going to get me free coffee, I'm definitely going to mention it. All right, so this coffee is from Metropolitan Coffee House, 5 barrel blend. Now, I'm not getting paid saying this. I just, hey, I got free. I ain't gonna complain. And it's good. It's definitely good. So if anyone's interested in buying some, I'll see what I can do to get that link to you or sent to you because it has a nice little kick to it at the very end. And it's a pretty good caffeine to it too, like little punch there. So definitely some good times there. So definitely wanted to share that. I didn't want to forget. But yeah, I can card. I see everything you're seeing, and this is why I kind of laughed when I saw what's that? Oh, right. There you go. See there you go. There, see right there, right there. All right, it's good. It's good stuff. But yeah, I can definitely see everything that you're seeing here, which is why I almost laughed when everyone's telling, but some people were telling me torch for for February. I'm like, based on what? Um, Steve, next month starts Thursday. That's true. That is very true. It also seems that there is a lot more traffic in the Atlantic than there had been earlier. Yeah, there's definitely been the polar adjustment's definitely been active in the Atlantic, that's for sure. Hey, Steve, glad to see you're feeling better. Should we watch the fourth? Um, I think the pattern for the fourth is slightly a little bit too progressive. I am keeping an eye on it because I don't like the nature of the shortwave coming in and the tilt of it. And it is very energetic. But right now, it looks like everything just is a little bit too fast to line up. When will the winds die down? This evening. In fact, it's literally doing it right now, um, where the winds are starting to subside. We're not seeing as strong of gusts. But as we go on through the night and into the overnight hours, high pressure will build in and gradually take hold. And, we're talking about northwesterly winds around 5 to 15 miles per hour rather than 10 to 20. And certainly the gusts won't be as bad. Uh, I'm looking for a book to read about snowstorms. Any suggestions? Yes, East Coast Snowstorms by Cosin and Mussolini. You can find it under in the AMS American Meteorological Society books. It's an excellent book. I'd strongly suggest it. It comes in 2 volumes and information to keep you busy enough to last years. I still use it to this day. I got it when I was a teenager, so I'm I'm 46 now, so you can kind of see what I mean. It's a great book. Um, Happy New Year, thank you. Uh, do you do you any good potential for a snowstorm, not including lake effect, in the eastern Great Lakes? No, it's just honestly, I don't really right now. I don't think it's a favorable track for you guys in the eastern Great Lakes. You're all about lake effect snow, my friend. That's what you're going to be looking for. I don't see any lake cutters at this time in this weather pattern. So La Nina is La Nada, MJO is MIA, which would mean the polar vortex rules. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. What are your latest thoughts for Wednesday night into Thursday morning? Snow showers, snow squall here and there. No widespread snowfall though. That threat has pretty much gone away. Um, let's test your knowledge. Uh-oh. Now this should be fun. In in Antarctica, how come it is always very windy and constant snowstorms? Can you give a mini lesson? As compared to the Arctic? Oh, that's easy. The Antarctica is an actual continent. The Arctic is mostly ocean and frozen as well. Antarctica does have in clashing air mass zones, although it's like minus 40 versus minus 50. You have a stronger polar vortex sitting overhead. You have stronger influences coming in from South America, Australia, some of those air masses. But with the land being so large, there's also a lot of, well, lack of obstruction. So you get a lot of strong winds in that respect with more mixing involved, especially in the winter months. You get more mixing, therefore, which for us is the summer months. So you get a lot of strong winds. And as you move to the summer months, which is our winter months, the winds are not as strong in over the continent, but on the edges, it's actually stronger because you get more air mass clashes between the pure, somewhat Arctic air and the polar air masses that interact there. You don't get that type of interaction um, in terms of what's going on in the Arctic because everything's reversed. In the Arctic, it's mostly water surrounded by land. In Antarctic, it's land surrounded by warmer water. So you get a lot more different thermal gradients, a lot stronger winds. Jeff looking, yep. See, that's the book. Yes. I'll be looking to go to Long Beach, New York, in the next few weeks. Do you see any days above 35? I don't have any specific days, but it's hard. It's hard to believe we won't see a couple of days above 35 um, over the next few weeks. It's going to be tough. It's definitely going to be a chilly time period. I would definitely say this is not your year for warm days. So, in terms of 35, probably under 5. I don't have specific days, but definitely under 5. 18Z Euro is showing a new phase for Saturday night. Any chance this happens and affects our region? Let me see what you guys are talking about. Let me pull it up. Let's see here. Let's go back and Set this, go here, zoom out. I want to get the whole continental, see what we're talking about with a phase. Okay, not really seeing anything there. Maybe this? Is this what we're talking about? It's gotta be. It's the only thing that's within it. Okay. Well, couple of problems here right off the bat. First of all, this ridge axis is too far east. So that means all this is going to get kicked right out. Let's see here. Nice ridge placement here, but this disturbance is awfully sheared out. This is too far to the west. This needs to be off the Canadian Maritimes. I mean, you could see some interaction. In order, what I want to see in the next two model runs, I want to see this here. I want this delayed, this here, and then that would lead to this being able to dig more, and this, which is a positive tilt right here, becomes at least more neutral. Then that would set up your low pressure system to be able to track up towards the benchmark. As it sits right now, close but no salami. Okay, it's very very close, but it's not close enough. Okay, because everything here is a little bit too fast, like I was saying earlier. So you get some, you definitely get interaction. I give you that. But you're strong when you have your strongest interaction. You have this blow up happening right over you. That means all your lifting is out here, and the only place that's really snowing heavy is well over the fishes. So if you want to go fishing, catch snow, there you go. But in this setup here, the only place that really has a really strong shot for a winter storm is Gulf of Maine, the Cape. That's pretty much about it because your strongest lifting and dynamics are all well to the east of the northern mid Atlantic. So you want this ridge out here. So that's what you need to see. It's one of those close but no cigar type scenarios. Looks like YouTube is YouTubing again. YouTube's having an issue. Looks like it's up and running. Let's get this snowy. Oh, well, that should be. Let's get this snowy winter going. During the past, the 10th looked more favorable for a bigger event. Does the past, the 10th, look? Oh, I see. Yes. Definitely a better potential. Absolutely. Since the threat for this week for New Jersey has faded, what are we looking at next? Basically, I want to see this pattern get established. That's what I'm trying to warn you guys. The next threat might come up on us with very short notice. That's what I'm trying to say because there's so much change going on. Um, Also, any thoughts on month dome? I'm not sure what that means. I don't know. Sorry, Nick. I'm not sure what that means. I truly believe the recent strong low pressure systems that went to our west, Great Lakes, sponsored a shortwave pattern change. That's actually a great observation, Daniel. Um, yes, it was part of our pattern change evolution. When you get storms in this scenario cut up towards the Great Lakes, what you're really doing is getting a process to transport warm air into the Arctic, which sets up the change and the disruption in the 500 millibar pattern. So you're 100% right. That is great job. Lee Goldberg on Channel 7 had 2 to 3 inches 10 p.m. to midnight. Do you agree? I don't like to critique other people's forecasts, but I will say this. With the type of Arctic air we're in, I would not be surprised if someone pulls off a surprise 2 or 3 inches of very, very fluffy snow, but not widespread. But I wouldn't be surprised if someone in one of those snow squalls get a surprise. But it's not the rule, it's more the exception. And that would make sense for Eastern Long Island too. Um, okay, so think about this here. The Arctic air is coming in, you have your snow squall and whatnot. If you have Arctic air moving in and you have a west northwesterly wind moving over the Long Island Sound, and into eastern Long Island, then you could definitely pick up ocean effect snow or bay effect snow, Long Island Sound effect snow, which would definitely support 2 to 3 inches. So yeah, that would make sense. Any chance that winter weather lasts straight through late March? Late March? No. Well, I can't say 100% no. We've had snowfall in April. Um, yeah, exactly. I don't have any data to support that. I'll put it that way. Check back with me in mid March. In mid March. Duh. Um, let's go back on that in early February to see if there's any support for that. Sorry, that was a typo. Okay, no problem. Let's see what's going on in social media land. Let's see what's going on with our Twitch guys. Philly weather. Hey Steve, hope you're feeling better. I got a little late, so I'm not sure if you said something this already, but it looks like there's a lot of short waves both in the polar and subtropical gesture as moving to January. We actually did talk about this. Definitely check out the feed earlier on. Yeah, I wouldn't trust anything beyond day 5. Anyway, going to be interesting month. Watch there be a blizzard while you're at the AMS meeting. I am terrified of that. I mean, I hope not. I don't want Susan here by herself with that. But I am telling you right now, it would be complete total freaking karma to have a major winter storm, the largest winter storm that we've seen in years, and I'm in Houston. It would be, first of all, it's horrible because then how do I do the live coverage of it? Because it's not so much like, oh, I'm going to be busy. I have the like highest internet, right? I got like strong streaming. I could do all that. I could do like 3 or 4 different platforms. Not a problem. No lag. I can't do that in a hotel or in the AMS thing. AMS is all like, 5G, where I'm going to be like talking like there's a snow storm. Like I'm going to be like broken like that. Yeah, it's going to be rough. So I don't know what to do with that. So we'll see. We'll see. That should be interesting. Let's see on YouTube. Oh my God, look at these guys. They're busy, 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 busy. Let me see what's good. Send us a blizzard. I don't control the weather, guys. If I did, the Mets would hit a home run every time they got windy. I mean, come on. Um, well, I did the storm last Friday and Saturday bus for New York City. I was waiting for a question like this. Okay, so here's what basically happened, and to credit, some individuals were basically leaning in this direction, some were not. Everyone agreed that 700 millibars was going to see strong warm air advection, which means sleet. Okay, and everyone had that. Even I had snow and sleet in the highest snow zone, where if you saw more sleet, 6 inches, you saw less sleet, 10 inches, right? That was kind of the idea. And then we have to watch out to see where the high latitude, where the strong divergence would set up, and the strong banding, and then the heavy snow, and blah, blah, blah. What happened was the best lifting dynamics ended up to the east of New York City and focused over Connecticut and Long Island. And there was that potential, and I was concerned about that bust potential. The thing is, because of the strong lifting that developed, the lift one because of that, you had a lot of subsidence over northern New Jersey, northeastern Pennsylvania, and then New York City, which cut down on the amount of time for it to snow. So instead of 6 inches, you got roughly, I think, 4.5, somewhere around there, on in Manhattan, in New York City. If you Because the lifting was so strong in Connecticut, it basically robbed your snow in New York City. Now, for you guys down in central New Jersey, that wasn't the problem. The problem was that I misread how strong the warm air transport would be at 700 millibars to not only change you over to sleet, but also to freezing rain. And as a result, that idea completely busted. But the primary theme here is that, as I was concerned about, wherever the strongest lifting was going to set up to cause that transition from sleet over to snow and heavy snow at that, it was going to screw over somebody else in northeastern Pennsylvania and New Jersey. And so that's essentially what happened in that scenario. Atmospheric thermodynamics brings back nightmares. Oh, they're fun. Uh, I don't try to critique anyone from who is around who likes to walk in a hall. I will say that there are certain passageways that I just don't walk down, and there are some times where that echo is a bit ridiculous. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, look, the whole thing is that the problem that I'm going to have is that as the chairman, I am going to have to respond to some of this stuff, whether I like to or not. Um, so it's going to be interesting. It's going to be an interesting year, that's for sure. Uh, yep, I got a lot of stuff. I mean, I'm trying to work through everything. Uh, let's see. Let's see. There's a lot of good stuff here. Uh, okay, mesoscale. What does mesoscale relate to? Refer to? I can't do all of this, but um, okay. Mesoscale is basically size. Okay, so you have climate scale, which is climate. You know the like let's say the MJO and the Enzo and polar vortex, stuff like that, and the QBO. Okay, those are large scale. Then you have synoptic scale, like you have your large winter storm or a large cold front across the country. Mesoscale is thunderstorm level and banding within a storm, and lake effect snow, where it's smaller scale. So we go from large scale, medium scale, small scale. And then within those scales, you have alpha and beta. So alpha is just kind of like separating, like you have mesoscale alpha, which might be sea breeze front. Okay, mesoscale beta might be a line of thunderstorms. Okay, so it's just measuring the size level of the area that you're analyzing. Um, Knowledge of chemistry in meteorology is extremely important. If you don't understand the chemistry involved in the stratosphere, the troposphere, the ionosphere, then you're not going to understand how those different chemistry balances interact and influence things like the polar vortex. Like, for example, a buildup of ozone in the stratosphere leads to more density in the stratosphere. And understanding how chemicals interact with solar flare with solar activity or via transport up from the troposphere. Uh, if you don't understand that, then you can't measure correctly the warming that takes place in the stratosphere, which then can influence the circulation of the polar vortex, both at the highest levels in the 10 millibars, 50 millibars, and 100 millibars. And the density and location of that and the interaction of those different chemical properties at each level can give you a better idea on what the momentum transfer can be from the upper stratosphere down to the lower stratosphere and thus into the troposphere. That's why chemistry is really important. Uh, London is dead. I'm not worried about February. Let's see here. Um, if I miss your questions, guys, on YouTube, I can't answer all of them, but there are a lot of great questions here. So I do thank you. This journey looks incidental to last season. No, I wouldn't agree that it's like last season at all. This season is a lot more favorable, in my opinion. Well, look, I, here's the thing. I mentioned this to someone who's actually in Discord. And another person who's in the chat room, premium chat room. Here's the thing, guys. You have to have some degree of being realistic, right? In terms of we're not getting 100 inches on Long Island. Okay, someone mentioned that to me before, because we're in Long Island, right? You want 100 inches, go up to Rochester. Um, you're not going to get 95, 96 again. It that was that was a miracle. That was a winter of amazing proportions that you will never see again. It's like watching it's like watching the 86 Mets. I may never see anything like that again. And the way things are going, I may not ever again. I don't know. But it's just something that you just have to enjoy it and embrace it for what it was and move on. A year like that, if you get two winter storms, two major winter storms in the year, that is a good year. Understand that for the Mid Atlantic. Let's see what else we got here. Let's see. Political air. I think I got the overall theme of a lot of this stuff here. It's basically around the same thing. Do I use Kirchhoff's total snowfall or Fourier scales? I do not. This is what I do for when it comes to snowfall. Right, I do the QPF map. Then I look at the atmosphere and look at where the snow growth levels are. In other words, I don't use snow maps. Okay. I what I'll do is when I'm on live chat here and I don't have time to do the calculations for you, then I will show you just a general snow map, like I do like a mile average, and just kind of talk about the overall themes. But when I'm doing a forecast, I use a QPF map. Then I look at the overall theme of the temperature environment. Okay, what the atmosphere looks like. Look at see where the snow growth level is. Okay, and once we get the snow growth level, what the environment is in that snow growth level, and the potential in terms of the snow ratios, then I go and do that. The snow maps are the worst thing to ever be created, ever. They're garbage. Don't use them. There you go. That is my biggest tip for any of you young meteorologists. Take the snow map, burn it, go back to the QPF map, and then understand the nature of the atmospheric environment. Understand the temperature environment. If you do that, you will beat the AI model guidance and all that other stuff to death. You will be ahead of the game. Trust me, it's a more work. It's a lot more work, but it's a lot better. You will succeed 95% of the time. And you won't get replaced by AI, by the way. Let's see here. All right, let me see what else we got on X. Let's see here. The MJ always seems exaggerated. Depending on the model, European does okay. GFS has some issues. Canadian's always off its damn rocker. The Australian guidance does a pretty good job as well. The reason why is that you're dealing with a lot of convective parameters and a lot of interaction with mountain torque, and then there's some missing observations as well. You want to compare that to also what's going on, like when I'm looking at the satellite pictures and what's going on with the convection and the potential there. But there's a lot of volatility involved in that. The MJO is a very volatile feature to forecast for, so you always see a lot of insanity. Uh, Congrats on being a champion. Yeah, thank you. It's going to be fun. I'm excited about it. Let's see what else we got here on. Uh, do you think the pattern comes together by 115? Uh, all right, so I wouldn't say locked in for. I want to be very careful here. I am not guaranteeing or forecasting that we're going to see a series of snowstorms because I don't have the data for that. What I am saying to you is that there is an awful lot of potential. We should see this pattern come into shape probably by the middle of the month to actually be locked in. We could see storms before that. Um, But there is just so much noise out there. It'd be irresponsible for me to guarantee anything beyond that. Uh, what was the recap for tri-state weather for 2025? Basically, it has been a very volatile year, and except for the hurricane season, I was right about that. Damn straight. I mean, that wasn't nearly as crazy. The hurricane season was very Jekyll and Hyde. Luckily, not for the United States, but in the Atlantic, either you got like a weak tropical storm or you got the Category 5 hurricane of all time. It was those two extremes, not much in the middle. Um, but overall, it was a month. It was a year of a lot of changes, and there's a lot of changes going on with solar weather. There's a lot of changes going on with the reduction of the influences from our volcano Tunga. Right, that's kind of fading away. So the atmosphere is going through a lot of changes going on right now. The difference between sleet and freezing rain. Okay, so that's simple. Okay, I'm gonna use my phone. My phone here is a warm layer. Okay, so when we have sleet, you have cold air here, cold air here. So you have your snowflake, drops through the warm layer, comes out, a little melted, refreezes a ball of ice, falls down. Now we're going to do freezing rain. Okay. This is the warm layer, much thicker, right? Cold air here, a little bit of cold air down here. Snowflake falls, melts through all this. This is all warm, so this all melts. Comes out as a raindrop, but it's below freezing here, so it freezes on the surface there. That's the difference between sleet and freezing rain. Do we have any other questions anywhere around? Let's see what we got here. Um, what signs do you look for that would make you say the polar vortex will be strong? Okay, so what I'm typically looking for is a very cold stratospheric environment. The EP flux is very weak. I would look for definitely a westerly QBO, hint for next winter. Um, those factors would definitely point towards a strong polar vortex. You could also look at snow growth in Siberia ahead of the season. If you have below normal snow growth in October and November in Siberia, most likely you're going to end up with a strong polar vortex as well. And I'm going to wait on. I don't like the way that this setup looks. For where is it? Here we go. This for this weekend, right? This just looks way too progressive to me. I don't see this as being a real threat. Again, if what I want to see this ridge on Saturday night. That's what this is. Sunday 000Z. That's 7 p.m. Saturday. I need this ridge axis here. I need it over the face, not over the butt, right? Here's the face of Montana. Here's the butt. I don't want it over the butt. I want it over the face, right here. Okay. This is too far east because this disturbance is coming in. The reason why is that because this is too far east, that means this is too flat and this is too far east. This is too flat, it's too far north. And so by the time they do interact, all your lifting's out here in the ocean with the fish. It's sleeping with the fishes. It's done. I think that's, yeah, it's got some cement shoes. There you go. Exactly. Exactly. This is not good if you're looking for a snowstorm. You're just kind of chasing a ghost. All right. So you want this changed. Before you look at anything here, you need this changed. Okay. So let's say this is 66 hours out. That's just kind of funky too. That just doesn't make much sense. But what you want at, let's see, this is at 90 hours out. In the next 2 months, let's say the 0Z guidance at 72 hours, you want at 72 hours, which is this not this time period on the 18Z guidance, you want this locked in here, and you want this far away. You want this way out. You don't want this anywhere near California or the West Coast here, because this kicks everything east. So you have to look for a lot of changes in the West. I think that pretty much covers everything.
Just for anybody who came in late, at the beginning
Yeah.
of the live, you went over the books. So if they're interested in that, they can watch the video.
Yeah, we went over a lot of books here. All right, definitely check that out. Okay, because they're really cool. So that strip right there.
No idea how much they can hear me, but they can.
So I think we covered everything we need to cover. Okay, no major storms yet, but stay on the ball. Changes are underway. It's going to be pretty crazy. I'm going to sign off now and get ready for the new year. We're going to go watch some videos, have some fun.
Pretend it's still Christmas.
We're going to pretend it's still Christmas. It is Christmas until I say it's not Christmas anymore, which happens to be, I don't know, March. Yes, your birthday, right? So when it's your birthday, Christmas is over. Christmas is over on your birthday. Until then, it's Christmas time, and that's it. And we're going to be playing Christmas music, and I don't care. Okay, jingle bells all the way. Okay, but in the meantime, have a happy New Year. Stay safe out there. Don't do anything too crazy. And I'll see you. Don't drink and drive. Yes, don't drink and drive. Don't DUI. Don't do anything and drive. Just don't drive. Don't drive. Stay home. Play a board game. Relax. Watch a movie. Be a nerd. It's okay. It's safer. You have more fun that way anyway. Happy New Year. I'll see you in 2026. And as always, stay safe out there.